The moment that offer surfaced, it should have been the end of the discussion. 2 years, $5 million per season, merch opportunities layered on top. The kind of deal that, in modern sports, isn't debated or second-guessed. It's accepted, announced, and celebrated as the obvious move. For most athletes, especially in women's basketball, that kind of financial security is not just life-changing, it's career-defining. Europe has long been the escape route, the place where talent is finally paid what it's worth, where the grind eases and the lifestyle expands. And yet, Caitlin Clark looked at everything that was put in front of her and made a decision that left the entire sports world stunned. She walked away at a time when loyalty is often treated as a marketing slogan rather than a real value. Caitlin Clark chose something almost unheard of. She chose roots over riches. She chose Iowa over Europe. And in doing so, she sent a message that felt almost disruptive in a landscape built around maximizing leverage and chasing the biggest possible bag. This wasn't a quiet decision either. It came at the exact moment when overseas negotiations were reaching their most critical stage, when everything was lining up exactly the way conventional wisdom says it should. Then one invitation changed everything. A call back to Iowa, a return to the place that built her, supported her, and watched her become who she is today. To understand why this mattered so much, you have to understand what she was turning down. European contracts are not just bigger checks. They come with a lifestyle that most WNBA players only hear about through teammates. Luxury apartments that feel like 5-star hotels. Private travel, VIP treatment everywhere you go. Entire fan bases built around you. For many players, it's the only way to truly cash in during their prime. Meanwhile, WNBA rookie salaries sit barely above the minimum for a professional athlete. Numbers that feel almost absurd when stacked next to the value these players generate. Caitlin Clark, even as a Rookie of the Year and a league-defining star, was no exception to that reality. And yet, when faced with the stark contrast between what Europe offered and what staying home meant financially, she didn't hesitate. She made it clear that this decision wasn't about squeezing every dollar out of the moment. It was about something far more personal, something that can't be replicated overseas, no matter how many zeros are on the contract. That choice came alive the moment she returned to Iowa Kinnick Stadium, filled with thousands upon thousands of people, not just fans, but family, former teammates, coaches, and supporters who had been there long before the national spotlight arrived. This wasn't a publicity stop or a carefully staged appearance. It was a genuine homecoming, the kind that hits differently because it's built on shared history rather than headlines. The crowd wasn't there to celebrate a contract or a title. They were there to show her what she meant to them, to remind her that what she built in Iowa wasn't transactional. It was emotional. It was permanent. Her relationship with Iowa has always gone deeper than basketball. This wasn't just the school where she played. It was the place where she grew up under pressure, where she learned to lead, where she failed publicly and responded by elevating an entire program. Her coach wasn't just a coach. Her teammates weren't just teammates. They were part of a shared journey that turned Iowa women's basketball into something bigger than anyone expected. Walking back onto campus wasn't about nostalgia. It was about acknowledging that those bonds still mattered. In a sports world obsessed with chasing the next level, Caitlin Clark did something radically simple. She honored the one she came from. Hawkeye Nation had supported her through everything. They packed arenas, traveled across state lines, turned watch parties into events, and treated her success like a shared victory. Even after she moved on to the WNBA, that support didn't fade. It followed her loudly, faithfully, unconditionally. Choosing Iowa over Europe was her way of giving that loyalty back. This wasn't an easy sacrifice. Walking away from European basketball means walking away from comfort, wealth, and a slower grind. It means staying in a system that still hasn't caught up financially to the value of its stars. It means choosing patience over immediate payoff. But for Caitlin, that trade-off wasn't framed as a loss. It was framed as an investment in something she believed in. Community, legacy, impact, and the impact is undeniable. Iowa women's basketball didn't just benefit from her talent, it was transformed by her presence. The program reached heights it had never seen before. Home games became events. Carver Hawkeye Arena turned into a fortress. Record-breaking crowds showed up night after night, and the energy extended far beyond the building. Entire generations of young players began to see Iowa not as a stepping stone, but as a destination. Since Caitlin arrived, youth participation in basketball across the state has surged dramatically. That's not coincidence. That's influence. Her legacy isn't defined solely by buzzer beaters, triple-doubles, or national headlines. Even though there were plenty of those, it's defined by the way she made people feel connected to the game. Fans didn't just watch her play. They felt like they were part of something. They saw themselves in her journey. That sense of shared ownership is rare, and it doesn't happen by accident. It happens when an athlete chooses authenticity over distance. Standing at center court, surrounded by black and gold, Caitlin Clark didn't look like someone who had given something up. She looked like someone who had gained clarity. Europe offered her glamour and fortune. Iowa offered her home, And in that moment, the choice made perfect sense. Success, for her, was never just about maximizing income. It was about maximizing meaning. In a time when athletes are constantly told that loyalty is naive and sentiment is a luxury, Caitlin Clark proved that choosing your roots can be a power move. She showed that greatness doesn't require abandoning where you started. Sometimes, the boldest decision is staying, and sometimes, the most valuable thing you can protect isn't your contract, but your connection. Now the question becomes one for everyone watching. In an era where money often dictates movement, how many athletes would make the same choice if they were in her position? Does loyalty still have a place in modern sports, or is Caitlin Clark an exception rather than a trend? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more stories that go beyond the box score and into what really defines greatness.